It seems like Democrats and Republicans can only agree on one thing right now: stopping Russia's invasion of Ukraine. By coming together to ban Russian oil imports, they hope to undermine Putin's ability to fund the war.
Democracies in the West are sending the state of Russia ballpark $300 million a day, every day, for oil and natural gas coming from Russia.
Only about 7% of our oil comes from Russia, but it's still a sacrifice considering Americans have already been dealing with higher energy prices since last year.
Energy costs are high in the United States, whether or not that's your home heating costs this past winter. They've been through the roof, whether or not that's your cost to fill up your car at the pump. Those costs are high. Why? Because we don't have enough supply to meet the demand. So how do you fix that? You increase the supply.
There is no bipartisanship in Washington over how to solve that problem. The Biden administration is committed to its radical climate change goals, which means cutting off Americans from fossil fuels as quickly as possible. Whereas Republicans like Bryan Steil say we need to increase total energy production as quickly as possible.
We need an all-of-the-above energy approach, but the one area that we can dramatically increase the quickest, so you can't just dramatically increase wind production, dramatically increase solar, you can't dramatically increase nuclear. The one area, or hydro, the one area you can is oil and natural gas. And so we have a need not only to reduce energy prices, which are clobbering people every day in a high inflation environment, but we also have a need from a national security standpoint, not only for the United States, but also for our Western allies, to lessen their dependence and ultimately end their dependence on Russian oil and natural gas.
Meanwhile, federal agencies are pursuing Biden's climate change goals, each in their own way, but all with painful results. Steil is personally squaring off with the EPA and the SEC.
Yeah, the EPA administrator came to the state of Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, and I sent out a letter and made statements that he's got a lot of questions that he needs to answer. And in particular, he's put forward a series of policies that have the real-world implications of raising the cost of energy. If we step back and look, why does California have ridiculously high gasoline prices? A piece of that is their state tax on gas, but that's only a piece of it. It's also the overly aggressive environmental regulations that they put in place. We don't need to loosen our environmental regulations. What we need to do is prevent them from putting unnecessary environmental regulations. Shift gears and look at the SEC, another quasi-independent government agency that's out there putting forward very significant rules and regulations that are going to restrict the operations of businesses, again, driving up the cost for consumers in a high inflationary environment, and preventing or restricting or limiting and at least discouraging investment in oil and natural gas, which again is the one spigot that we can dramatically turn on to lessen the inflationary environment that we're feeling right now.
And the situation will only grow more urgent as the year and the Ukraine war wears on.
As we get into the fall, in particular in Western Europe, when, like Germany's like Wisconsin, I mean, it gets cold in the winter and people are going to need to heat their homes, and that dependence becomes quite real for Western Europe, their dependence on Russian natural gas. And so every day we wait, it just moves us in the wrong direction.
For the McIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.